everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Mark, and today we've got a really exciting topic, something every learner struggles with: how to improve your English ears.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica. And Mark, I love that phrase, improve your English ears. It's such a fun way of saying, train your listening skills.
Exactly. You know, a lot of learners tell us, Mark, I can read English pretty well. I can even write, but when I listen, people speak so fast. I feel lost.
Oh, I hear that all the time, too. It's like you study for years and then suddenly you meet a native speaker and boom, it feels like another language.
Yeah, totally. But here's the good news. Listening is a skill you can train. Just like going to the gym to build muscles, you can train your ears to catch English more easily.
That's right. And today, we're going to give you real strategies, fun techniques, and some personal stories about how you can start understanding English better, even when people speak quickly or with different accents.
So, whether you're commuting, cooking dinner, or just relaxing with us right now, stick around. By the end of this episode, you'll have a clear plan to make your English listening stronger.
Okay, Mark, I'm excited. Let's jump into why listening feels so hard for so many learners.
All right, so let's talk about the first big question. Why is listening in English so difficult?
Yeah, that's a good place to start. And you know, Mark, I think the number one reason is speed. Native speakers talk fast, they don't slow down for learners.
Exactly. And not only do we speak fast, but we also connect our words together. For example, instead of saying, I am going to eat, many of us just say, I'm gonna eat.
Right. And for learners who studied in school, they usually learn the perfect version of English, very clear, very slow. But in real life, it sounds totally different.
Let me share a quick story. I remember when I first moved to New York. I thought, hey, I'm a native speaker. This will be easy. But when I heard New Yorkers on the subway talking super fast, I could barely catch anything.
Oh, I love that. And for me, it was the opposite. I grew up in the US, but when I first watched British TV without subtitles, I felt like I didn't understand half of what was happening. The accent, the slang, the speed, it was overwhelming.
And that's the point. Even native speakers struggle with listening when the accent or style is new. So for learners, of course, it feels tough.
Exactly. And it's not just speed or accents. Sometimes learners expect to understand every single word, and when they miss one word, they panic and then they miss the next 5 words.
Yes, I've seen that so many times. It's like you're so focused on one detail that the conversation just keeps going, and you're left behind.
So if you're listening right now and you feel like, why can't I understand everything? Don't worry, it's normal. Everyone goes through that stage.
And here's the good news. There are clear steps you can take to train your ears, to move from frustration to confidence.
Perfect. So let's dive into what it really means to train your English ears.
So, Jessica, we keep saying this phrase, train your English ears. But what does that really mean?
Great question. To me, training your ears means teaching your brain to recognize the sounds of English, not just the dictionary words, but how they actually sound in real life.
Yes, because in real conversations, people don't speak word by word. They connect sounds. They drop sounds. They shorten words.
Exactly. Like if I say, what are you going to do in real life? It often becomes, what you gonna do?
And if you learned only the textbook version, what are you going to do? You might think, wait, what was that?
Right. So training your ears is about hearing those natural forms again and again until your brain says, oh, I know that. That's just English.
And I like to compare it to music. You know how musicians train their ears to recognize notes, chords, and rhythms? Well, English learners can do the same thing with language.
I love that comparison. At first, when you listen to music, it's just sound. But if you practice, suddenly you can say, ah, that's the guitar. That's the drums. Listening in English works the same way.
Yes. At first, it's just noise, but with training, you start catching patterns, like, oh, they're saying gonna. Oh, that's wanna.
And the cool thing is, once you train your ears to catch those patterns, you don't need to translate everything in your head anymore. You just understand.
That's the goal. Not perfect understanding of every single word, but understanding the meaning, the flow of the conversation.
Exactly. So don't worry if you miss small words. What matters is catching the bigger picture.
All right, so now that we know what it means to train your ears, let's talk about the first big step, exposure. All right, step one of training. Your English ears is simple but powerful. Exposure.
Yes, exposure just means surrounding yourself with English sounds every day as much as possible.
Exactly. And here's the important part. You don't always have to understand everything. Sometimes just listening, even in the background, is enough to train your ears.
That's so true. Think about how babies learn. They listen to thousands of hours of language before they say their first words. They don't understand everything at first, but their brains are getting used to the sounds.
I love that example. So, if you're a learner, you can do the same thing. Play English podcasts while you're walking. Put on an English YouTube video while you cook dinner. Let your ears soak in the rhythm and melody of the language.
Yes, and here's a tip I love. Pick something you enjoy. If you love cooking, watch cooking shows in English. If you love sports, listen to sports commentary. That way, it doesn't feel like homework.
Exactly. And it's okay if you only understand 30% or 50% in the beginning. Over time, that percentage grows.
And don't underestimate background listening. Even if you're not focusing 100%, your brain is still noticing sounds, accents, and patterns.
Totally. I actually used this method myself. When I was learning Spanish, I used to play Spanish radio in my car every day. I didn't understand most of it at first, but after a few months, my ears started catching more and more.
That's a great story. I had the same thing with French. I listened to French music every day. At first it was just noise, but then I started recognizing words, then phrases. It's like your ears wake up slowly.
Yes. So the key takeaway: fill your life with English sounds. Don't wait for the perfect study session. Just press play and let English be part of your daily environment.
Exactly. Exposure is step one, it's the foundation. Without it, your ears won't improve.
Perfect. Now, once you have regular exposure, the next step is to get more active with your listening. And that's where the real progress starts.
Yes. Step two, active listening. Let's dig into that.
So, after exposure comes step two, active listening. This is where you stop being a passive listener and start really working with the sounds.
Yes, with exposure, you just let English flow around you. But with active listening, you pay attention, repeat, imitate, and check your understanding.
Exactly. One of my favorite techniques is called shadowing. That's when you listen to someone speak in English, and then you try to repeat what they say immediately, almost like an echo.
I love shadowing too. It forces you to match the rhythm and the sounds, not just the words, and it really trains your tongue and ears at the same time.
Let's try a mini example for our listeners. I'll say something at normal speed, and Jessica, you repeat it like shadowing. Ready?
Okay, let's go.
I'm going to grab a coffee before the meeting.
I'm gonna grab a coffee before the meeting.
Perfect. Notice how Jessica didn't slow it down, she copied the speed and the connected sounds. That's what shadowing is all about.
Exactly. And learners can practice this with podcasts, YouTube videos, or even movie dialogues. Just choose a short clip, pause, repeat, and try to sound like the speaker.
Another good method is using transcripts. Some podcasts and videos provide transcripts, so you can listen once without reading, then read along while listening, and then listen again without the text.
That's a really powerful cycle. It helps your brain connect the sound with the written word, and then back to sound again.
And here's another tip. Don't listen to a whole 30-minute episode at once. Break it into short chunks, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and really focus on them.
Yes, quality over quantity. It's better to deeply understand and practice a small section than to feel lost in a huge recording.
So step 2 is all about being active shadowing, repeating, checking transcripts, focusing on small pieces.
Exactly. And when you do that regularly, you'll notice your ears getting sharper. You start hearing things you never noticed before.
All right, so after exposure and active listening, the next step is to bring your skills into real life.
Yes, and that's where things get exciting and sometimes a little scary, but it's the best way to grow.
All right, so we've talked about exposure and active listening. Now comes step 3, real-life practice.
Yes, this is the step where you take everything you've been training your ears with podcasts, videos, transcripts, and bring it into actual conversations.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, the goal of listening isn't just to understand Netflix shows, it's to connect with real people.
That's so true. And I know this part can feel scary. Learners often say, "But what if I don't understand? What if I freeze?"
And my answer is, that's totally okay. In fact, not understanding 100% is part of the practice. You don't need perfection to communicate.
Yes, think about it. Even native speakers sometimes miss a word and say, "Sorry, what was that?" That's normal.
Exactly. So, how can learners get this real-life practice? Well, one way is through language exchange partners. There are apps and websites where you can talk with people who want to learn your language, and in return, you practice English.
That's a fantastic option. And if you don't have a partner yet, you can start smaller. For example, talk to yourself in English out loud, or repeat conversations you hear in your daily life.
Another great method is using TV shows or movies as conversation partners. Watch a scene without subtitles, then repeat the lines as if you're part of the dialogue.
I love that. It's like role-playing, you're practicing, listening, and speaking at the same time.
And for the brave ones, try turning off subtitles completely. At first, it feels impossible. But if you stick with it, your ears will adapt.
Yes, you can even make it gradual. Start with subtitles in your language, then switch to English subtitles, then eventually no subtitles, step by step.
The important thing is to use your listening in real, messy, human situations. That's where you learn the most.
Exactly. Exposure and active listening build your foundation, but real-life practice makes everything come alive.
So true. And once you've had a few conversations or experiences, you'll notice something amazing. What once sounded impossible now feels familiar.
Yes, that's the moment when you realize your ears are actually improving.
All right, so we've covered the 3 big steps: exposure, active listening, and real-life practice. But before we wrap up, we've got some quick fun tips to make listening practice even more enjoyable.
Yes, let's share those bonus tips.
All right, before we wrap up, let's share some quick tips and fun ways our listeners can practice listening.
Yes, because training your ears doesn't have to feel like hard work. It can actually be fun.
One of my favorites is listening games. For example, pick a song in English, listen carefully, and try to write down the missing words.
Oh, that's a good one. And you can even find fill-in-the-blank lyric websites where they remove words from the song, and you guess what's missing. It's like karaoke plus listening practice.
Exactly. Another fun idea is what I call the accent game. Listen to short clips of different English accents: British, American, Australian, maybe even Irish or South African. Try to guess where the speaker is from.
That's so fun, and it really trains your ears to handle variety, because in the real world, you won't only hear one accent.
Totally. And here's a simple but powerful trick. Play the same recording at different speeds. First, slow it down if you need to. Then listen again at normal speed. And finally, challenge yourself at faster speed.
Yes, that's such a good strategy. It's like lifting weights, start lighter, then add more. Your ears will get stronger with each level.
Another tip: watch short videos like TED Talks or news clips because they're often clear, focused, and easier to repeat.
And don't forget audiobooks. If you choose a book you already know in your own language, it's much easier to follow along in English.
Great point. The key is to mix it up: music, movies, news, audiobooks. Keep it interesting, and your brain will stay engaged.
Yes, and remember, little daily habits add up. 5 or 10 minutes of fun listening each day is way better than 2 hours once a month.
Exactly. Consistency wins every time.
All right, I think our listeners are ready to have some fun while training their ears.
Yes. And now, let's wrap it all up with a quick recap. All right, we're almost at the end of today's episode. Let's do a quick recap.
Yes, so today we talked about how to train your English ears. Step 1 was exposure. Surround yourself with English every day, even if you don't understand everything.
Step 2 was active listening, shadowing, repeating, using transcripts, and focusing on small chunks of audio to really sharpen your ears.
And step 3 was real-life practice, taking your skills into conversations, shows, or exchanges where listening becomes real and alive.
Plus, we gave you some quick fun tips: song games, accent challenges, audiobooks, and even adjusting playback speed.
Exactly, and the big message is, be patient. Listening is a skill, and just like building muscle, it takes time. But if you keep practicing, your ears will get stronger.
So, here's our challenge for you. This week, choose one new listening habit. Maybe listen to a short podcast every morning, or try shadowing 1 minute of dialogue. Stick with it for 7 days and notice the difference.
Yes, and we'd love to hear from you. What's your favorite way to practice listening? Share it with us in the comments or send us a message on our channel.
And don't forget to subscribe to the English Learning Podcast so you don't miss future episodes. If you enjoyed today's show, please leave us a review. It really helps more learners find us.
All right, that's it for today. Thanks so much for joining us.
Keep listening, keep practicing, and remember, your English ears are getting stronger every day.
We'll see you next time.